I'm starting the recording. Okay. You should notice that it says up in the corner recording, just so you know. Again, I suggest you mute yourself at this point because we'll be doing presentations. I will unmute you if I can, but I'll ask you to unmute yourself when we get to a point where we really invite conversation. Of course, during the meditation is a different thing, but throughout the discussion, the interview, topics, feel free to do a chat box, raise your hand, and of course, toward the end, we'll pause for questions that may not have been answered throughout the dialogue or the discussion today. So today is November 12th. We've changed these meetings to Thursdays, which help, I think, some people to attend, including myself. Okay, so today is November 12th, 2020, and this is the SRT Practitioners. It has the title SRT Practitioners Clearing, I believe, because we share clearing concepts, tips, ideas. But I want to maybe give it the name of SRT Practitioners Gathering. You can be a teacher, you can be a consultant, and you can be a practitioner to attend these. It's just that it's not limited to certified people. We welcome anyone who's taken a basic class or more to come and learn about spiritual concepts or other things that might enhance their SRT work. Okay. Earlier on, I'd asked people to share, how did you come across this meeting? Was it through social media such as Facebook, Instagram, or if the email to you is what got your attention? And I think for one thing that we have 57 people, the email obviously has brought in a lot of people. But yes, of course, the social media still also is very beneficial. This meeting is organized by the SRA itself, the board of directors, and the staff put out the marketing and the follow-up. So this recording will be sent to the SRA office. They will post it on their YouTube, and they might even post it, of course, through YouTube, but through Instagram and Facebook. There may be several places you can find their YouTube video. Okay. I think we can go ahead and start with our meditation. And Lisa, you'd asked me to offer that today. Are you still on with that? Okay. Okay. So if you can, place your feet on the floor. Just get comfortable wherever it is you're sitting. Take a deep breath in. And release out.
Chévere, gracias.
Just a moment, I'm going to go back and mute people. Let's take another deep breath in. Please mute yourself. We'll start the meditation over. Okay, I think I got everybody. All right. Again, a big thank you to everyone for coming today. And be comfortable where you're sitting. Take a moment to take a deep breath in. And release out. And as you move your attention to your breath, notice the rise and fall of your belly. Take a moment to fill that space around your navel, to notice it, and how does it feel? Notice a warm, gentle energy above your head. It feels like gentle sunshine. And as you witness that gentle warmth, that presence, You recognize this is the presence of spirit. And as you come through and witness that gentle strength of spirit surrounding you, coming down through the top of your head, down through your chest, warming your heart, warming your solar plexus, gently going down to your hips, breathing in, feeling, breathing out, and feeling that gentle warmth of spirit, that love, that support as it extends down your legs and out your toes. As it extends gently out your toes, you notice that you feel grounded in this earth. You feel centered in spirit and centered in the physical realms. And you take that breath with that warmth that's surrounding you, and you breathe in again. And you breathe out. And as you feel that gentle warmth throughout your body, you quietly in your mind remind yourself remind yourself that you are the following. I am a powerful spiritual being living here now. I have thoughts, but I am not my thoughts. I let go of negative thoughts. I let them float away. I change my thoughts to promote healing and happiness. I have emotions, but I am not my feelings. I watch my feelings come and go like clouds in the sky. I relax and let go of destructive energies. I turn toward peace feelings now. I remember loving times and hold that love and joy in my heart now. I imagine a glowing flame making me warm and comfortable. I accept love and joy right now in all aspects of my life. Take a few more breaths. And notice how this feels for you. And memorize this feeling. And as you memorize this feeling, bring this joy, bring this groundedness back to this time, back to this space, and open your eyes when you're ready. Yep. There we go. Okay. Thank you for your patience with everyone being muted while we did our meditation. And I apologize, it didn't work out some of the kinks of that before we started. So I have the pleasure today of speaking, and you have the pleasure today of being with Lisa Gibbings-Koo. I'm Kathleen Butler, and I'm the host tonight. And Lisa and I have worked together for many years on different projects, including being board members at the same time. We also worked on the certification committee, and I even taught a class in Trinidad to some of the people that she knows. So I just want to say that what a privilege it is to have Lisa here. She's one of the few people who've been ordained a minister and is also a long-term SRT and SPR teacher. And so Lisa hails from Trinidad and Tobago. and the most southerly islands in the Caribbean. And they're noted for their beauty and tranquility, which so is Lisa, her beauty and her tranquility. Since learning SRT and SPR over 16 years ago, Lisa has been actively teaching both systems, both modalities, for the past 16 years, and she's also one of the select few intensive skills teachers. She did also self-mastery for a while when the SRA was offering self-mastery. So she has taught in the United States in various locations, including the Hawaiian Islands. She's taught in England, Hungary, Colombia, Mexico, Malaysia, Hong Kong, China, Japan, Chile, Ecuador, and other islands in the Caribbean. Lisa served on the SRA board for 5 years and was the president for 2 of those years. And on top of managing her own full-time SRT business, she is also the current chair to the Spiritual Support Committee. I'm really glad that the SRA has a Spiritual Support Committee and that we all have that benefit as well. And she's also an SRA, as we mentioned earlier, an SRA minister, and she's been trained in negotiation and mediation. So she has a lot of skills in those areas. And as we move forward in our interview, I can invite you right now. Is there something so far you wanted to ask Lisa? Otherwise, I'll continue. You can always unmute yourself if you have a specific question about anything I mentioned so far. And I will be watching the chat box, so feel free to type things in. Yeah, Veronica, thank you. I did that. Okay. So, Lisa, you and I talked about what do we want to discuss tonight, but I wanted to talk first about just some things about you. So what started you on your SRT path? Like, I mean, you know, I think we're all curious about how did we end up here? What drew us to this particular method? You want to share with us, please?
Sure. Well, Kathleen, first I'd like to say thank you to you for taking the time to host this meeting, and also to the SRA board, the office staff who worked really hard to put this out. Thank you for doing it email. It works. All who were on this call, because it was important that you took time from your busy schedules to be here with us. And most of all to the Detzlers, especially Robert and Marianne, who shared their life's work with us. Because without them, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't have a practice. So thanks again for that. And to answer your question now, Kathleen, this would have taken me back to the 90s where I was studying feng shui. And my teacher told me about SRT. And I always remembered saying, this is some kind of strange sounding thing. And then she said, no, it'll be something good for you to learn because you look like someone who will do well with SRT. I never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. But you know, you have this intuitive feeling that you have to do this. So I said, okay, waited a couple years. Then I actually used the number she gave me and found out it was the SRA. And they said, okay, the closest place to a class for you would be Florida. So I actually got 3 names of some teachers, and Spirit just led me to one of these teachers who agreed to teach me. And I said, okay, I'm coming. So without even taking a class or having a session before, I just jumped right into it. And to be very honest, I never looked back. You know, it was just a wonderful experience.
Well, one of the things too that you and I talked about is that, just a reminder, we don't have to come from a spiritual background, you know, like having studied a lot of spiritual things before finding or being attracted to SRT. I know a lot of us have a wide range of backgrounds. So thank you for sharing that. And I am one, I'm sure most of us, or maybe all of us here that know you, are very glad that you pursued that. So SRT's brought a lot of opportunities to you to travel, and we mentioned some of those places at the beginning that you've gone to. What do you enjoy best about doing that work in all these countries and different places, different cultures?
I would definitely have to say it's being able to share SRT with many. You know, feeling very honored and blessed to be able to work with others and to learn from them as well. My joy and passion in life is really working with people. So to get to meet them and learn from them is a big part of my work. Um, I've learned really much more teaching than anywhere else. The students actually teach me, you know, especially when they ask questions. You know, I'm always impressed with the questions because it makes me think and it makes me ask spirit for the answers. Mhm.
Excellent. What do you feel has been the most impactful experience in your career as an SRT practitioner, consultant, teacher that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah. I would say that I have become more open to techniques and styles of teaching because working in one part of the world has always been different to others, but also recognizing the differences and also the similarities. So it has helped me to really um, develop myself as a practitioner as well.
Yeah, I would say we are the teachers of all, you know, that we all teach each other. I know being together, socializing, meeting
Exactly.
people really helps. What you have a vast knowledge, not just of SRT, but working with people, um, event planning, being, you know, teaching, doing presentations. So what advice would you give for someone starting their SRT and even wanting to become a teacher? I mean, or just a practitioner? What would you suggest for their practices?
Well, one of the things I would like to say is, you know, firstly, you really have to work on yourself because for me as a practitioner, I had to do many weeks, months of work, you know, just kind of hammering it out for me. Like, in other words, I had to see how I felt doing SRT. I had to see my results. And what started to happen is other people saw my results. And because of that, they actually started to come to me. So, as a practitioner, it's important to actually be the example of, of this work. Um, for a teacher, I would say looking to become a teacher is a really great thing and it is an honor. And you would find that the same people that you worked with would actually want to do this for themselves. So in SRT, as you probably, just like myself, Kathleen, we really promote independence. So, you know, doing this, working on yourself. And that is something that you would find is very helpful because people, when they realize, wow, I could do this for myself, you know, that is going to build your practice as well as even a teacher. Mhm.
Is there any questions that people would like to ask Lisa at this time about building their practice before we move into our topic? Okay. And again, feel free to write something in the mute chat box if you wish, and we'll always get to it before we finish today. Okay.
Mhm.
I have something to add.
Yes,
Sure.
Catherine.
What made her feel a lot more confident in her practice and know that she was giving her all for the particular client she was working with?
Thank you, Catherine. That's a really great question. Um, To be very honest, I was never sure, but it was the reward at the end when the client said to me, "Wow, how did you know this?" Or, "I feel so much lighter." You know, it was the interaction that I had with the client. Um, I really, really suggest, and when I teach intensive skills, I always say interact with your clients. Don't just do the clearing and expect them to just know everything. Allow them to actually speak to you. And you know, it's not something that I could say I would have known of the right, but I would have definitely felt it. You just know. And you can also, because we have this wonderful tool of using a pendulum and high self, you can always ask things like, you know, what percent is my accuracy? You know, because remember, we can actually ask those questions even during our sessions. Catherine, does that answer your question, or do you need more explanation?
No, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Lisa, we have a couple of comments. One is from Christina. When did you become confident enough in your own practice that you started reaching out and working with others?
Well, actually, if I was waiting on myself to feel confident, it would have never happened.
Right?
So I actually remembered my very first client was someone who overheard my conversation with a friend and just looked at me and said, "Whatever you did or are doing, could you do that for me?" And that was it. And that was my very first client. And I said, "Okay, well, let's set this up and we'll do a session." So
Okay.
sometimes we don't really know, but you actually get the response from other people who see your work, who see you.
Great. Okay. A couple of other comments, and one I can answer myself.
Please.
How can we find current practitioners in your local area? Because practitioners aren't certified, you won't find them on the SRA website. The website will tell you who the teachers and certified consultants are in your area. For practitioners, you would need to just ask people if they know someone. There is benefits to being certified, and one of those is the marketing. So there are some countries that have put together their practitioner list. However, the SRA markets only the certified people at this time. So, and then you'd asked about charts. How do you get current charts? If you need a new set of charts, retaking a class is one great way to do that, to retake a basic, advanced. And I also suggest you contacting the SRA directly, asking about charts, because you may want them in a different language, and so forth. Is there anything you want to add to that, Lisa?
No, I think you covered it there because, like, for instance, we have a local practitioners list. So I know all the people who've taken basic and advanced, and
Right. So if you
and I recommend as well.
Right. So for me, if someone contacts me, I may recommend certified or non-certified people, such as practitioners, but reach out to a teacher in your area, or a certified consultant, and ask if they're willing to give referrals if they're not the person that is a fit for you. Yeah. Okay. How do you build a stronger connection to spirit? Wow, that's a whole class in itself, isn't it? But how would you answer that, Lisa?
I would definitely say in one word, start working on trusting. Trusting yourself first. Trusting the answers that you are receiving. That is one of the ways to really build your confidence.
Thank you.
Kathleen, somebody has a question to ask.
Yeah, I'm just actually answering one of them. Yes, JW has a question. Do you want to type it or say it? because some of these questions actually go into what we'll be discussing.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so someone asked, do certified and non-certified work with the same SRT? Yes, it's the same charts. As long as you've had the advanced class. Lisa, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you're answering it. That's
Okay,
perfect.
so the thing is if you've not gone through the certification process, you may not have taken additional classes, or you may not have worked on building your skills in working with people. But every certified person starts out as a practitioner. Keep in mind, when you finish the advanced class, you can be a practitioner working on the public, and that you can think of as your internship, if you will. If you're heading towards certification, that's how you build your business and work. As Robert often said, practicing, doing the SRT, that's how you learn it. So it's doing the sessions, doing the clearing work. That's the best way. You know, Anne, can we clear COVID with SRT? I don't really want to get into that, other than I would suggest clearing people's fear around it. Anything, Lisa, to add quickly about that?
Kathleen, we did have some questions clearing the spiritual energies around the virus, which was sent out. We sent it out as a message. Maybe we can send it over again. The spiritual support committee had a contribution.
That's correct.
Yeah. Could we
Yeah.
get this out again?
You can ask the SRA to resend it. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Okay,
Yes,
I can send a note to Christy to see if they can send it out. I believe they sent it out in a constant contact last time.
Right. Kathleen, there's a question higher up from Patricia that you could probably answer.
I already did.
Oh, you did? Okay, great. Okay, great.
Okay, just a moment, people. We actually had a topic. But Lisa's really excited about answering your question. So let me just make sure I haven't missed them.
Okay, answer more after.
What can we clean up when we have interferences to work with SRT? Keep in mind, well, Lisa can answer this. Lisa, go ahead. What would you say to them?
You know, the thing is that, again, it's going to be probably answered in some of what we're going to talk about with setting the intention, as well as the prep to work, staying clear and neutral, because we're going to talk about that in just a minute.
Yes.
I think we're going to address that same question.
Yeah, so maybe we should move into that in just a moment. I just wanted to look at JW. You said that you found that your soul is not open to clear anything. Ask if you have blocks to doing clearing work. You know, and Lisa may have some other suggestions. But this is one reason we picked intention.
Yeah.
If you are sitting down to work and you're thinking, I hope I'm clear, or I hope that I'm doing this right, you're into ego consciousness, but you're also setting the intention to have blocks and interferences. So I'm going to turn the time over to Lisa for that dialogue about setting an intention and how it can make the workflow so much more easier if you understand the power of intention and how to set one. What kind to set? Be aware of your thoughts. Okay, Lisa, we have new messages, Lisa, but we'll get to them at the end of the meeting.
No problem. Well, let's start with the basic word here, which is intention. So an intention is really to plan or to aim at completing something. So we need to actually know what that is. When we look at a spiritual healing intention, it's really to know what you want to do or to create. So it's like, what would you like to see as the end result? But it's like knowing that, you know, you have to know what you want. So first, it's like planting the seeds in your consciousness that will allow it to grow. So you have to have a seed to plant. So that's the intention. One of the things I always tell people is that, like, when I'm working with my clients, I always want to set the highest healing intention, spiritual healing intention, to working with them. But I would like people to know that it's important to interact with that person first. So I'll just give you a little example. I would ask the client, what would they like to work on? So this way it kind of gives me an idea of what's happening, so I can hold that intention. And when I start the session, I have already sent that message out. So my high self and their high self, we are already holding the same idea in mind, that this is going to help this person. I align myself, and then my intention would be to facilitate healing that is right for them, because it's an individual thing, it's a personal thing. Because the healing that would be done for one may not be done for the other. So again, each person is different. You would be surprised to know that by having the correct intention, the work flows a lot easier. Because if I allow my ego to get in the way of my intention, then I am trying to force the point, or I may actually be allowing my ego to get in the way. So this is why, again, it's important that we hold the intention throughout the entire session. This will bring us to another topic, another area in holding an intention. It is really to be clear and neutral channel for spirit, basically. So when you hold that intention, you want to be able to hold that energy space for you and your client. I would suggest that you do a proper prep to work. This is where a lot of people get caught up. If you do a proper prep to work, you would find that it would be easier for you to maintain that clear channel with spirit. Also, it's important to know that you don't have to know everything. Your high self does, and just allow your high self to guide you. Usually you're going to get some of the best answers if you just allow your high self. Then you'll know that when your energies and when you're clear and neutral, because the session will flow, everything will just flow. When you are not clear, sometimes you will receive a lot of blocks, interference, incorrect answers. So this is where it's a good time to probably stop and ask things like, whom are you working with? You know, just remember that this also shifts. Then there's something that I wrote here because I think it's important. Sometimes when I feel that my pendulum is moving and I'm not sure about my answers, I would ask, what percent am I a clear and neutral channel for spirit? And if that is less than 100%, I would go to chart 1 and I would ask, well, what is blocking me from remaining clear and neutral? Because maybe I have something that I need to work on that will allow me to become clear. Then another question that I do ask is, what percent is my high self clear and neutral? Because sometimes the high self can be running energies on programs, on situations. So we want to always be clear of this. And again, if you get less than 100%, feel free to go back to chart 1 and ask. You know, it's like having and holding the intention is a big part of everything that we do. It's just like when you hold an intention for your day. You can start even with that, a simple situation like that. So, for instance, I have a little exercise that I sometimes share with students who often tell me, well, they don't know what is an intention, how to hold an intention. So I would often say to them, set an intention every day for 1 week. It's just a little exercise that I like. And at the end of the week, pay attention to how you felt. You know, for example, if I'm going to work with clients, I would hold the intention something like, to my clients, to hold to the best of my ability to facilitate healing for them. Or I can say, I am holding sacred space where all who come are healed. these are things that I am just holding. I'm just giving you simple examples of things I would ask. Or a simple thing like, I am going to enjoy my day. So I'm setting an intention for that day. These are just some ideas of intentions. And at the end of the week, I want you to look at the list of intentions that you had set for each day and notice if that week seemed to have been easier. Remember to keep your intentions positive, and let's not forget Robert's words, keep it simple, spirit. We don't have to go into long and drawn out intentions. We can just keep it simple. But again, when you're working with your clients, it's really going to be important to know the intention that you're holding for them. So this is why often if you took like intensive skills, or even when we did self-mastery, we would always ask the class, what would you like to get out of this class? And the teacher would actually hold the intention for the group, because what we would find happening is many people would want the same thing. So we would hold that intention to be able to accomplish it by the end of the class. So again, just remember that setting a spiritual healing intention is about having a plan or having something, direction in which to go to. I would like to entertain some questions pertaining to this, because I know this is a very interesting topic and many people would have different views on intention. Kathleen, do you want to open it up?
Yes, so you're asking me, yeah, if people want to unmute themselves, and please, if you want to talk to Lisa about intention, or we want to keep it to the topic right now.
Yeah, to the topic of intention, yeah.
Any questions about how to be a clear neutral channel? One thing, if I may add, while you're thinking about your response to Lisa, is that if you think you're going to get blocks and interferences, that has become your intention. So clear neutral channel in alignment with spirit. Being in alignment means you're in alignment with love. And you're in alignment with neutrality. It is possible to be neutral 100%. So when you're in that alignment as a clear neutral channel, then you don't have an agenda for your client. You can help them, help work with spirit to find the information that's in their greater good, instead of having an agenda that, as some of you might notice, it gets in the way, it can block you to information. So anyone else have comments? I'm looking at the chat box. I'm not looking. Yes, Tori.
Hi. Just to kill two birds with one stone, not that I kill any birds, but you spoke about the COVID virus earlier, and you speak about intention at this moment. We can combine those two if we just remember that our late and beloved Robert Detzler has the book of healing patterns. Yes. And one of the healing patterns is the virus pattern. And in the beginning of the COVID, back in January, I actually took the book and opened the pattern and left it open since. And I said, please, Spirit, any virus, including COVID, clear away for me and for my environment and wherever I go, surrounding me. And so it's actually saying what I want, asking Spirit that hopefully I'm in line with Spirit's will for me, and asking for the highest good of both myself and others. And it's not that I asked for the viruses to be killed, I asked for the viruses to be cleared. So the viruses themselves can also live, but somewhere else. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tori. Yes, the spiritual healing, the book Spiritual Healing by Robert Detzler is an amazing book. I recommend it to everyone. The virus pattern is one of many that are amazing and that can help with many things. There's also the freedom pattern where you have to have an intention to use the freedom pattern, and you set that intention and then use the pattern. So it's it states in there that you have to have an intention to use that particular healing pattern, but it's a fabulous book. Everyone should have one. Lisa, back to you.
Yeah. I want to answer the last person's question.
Yeah, I see these coming
comment.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, go ahead. If you're reading them, you go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So could we ask Catherine to give her comment? She has a comment on intentions because she asked first.
Yes,
Yeah,
actually, I thought that your idea about doing it weekly as an intention is absolutely fabulous. I personally do it on daily basis because I feel like I get checked off better because I'm like, oh, that actually that really did happen. So then I feel like my confidence levels increases as I do it on daily basis. But yeah, weekly is definitely also phenomenal to do it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it's just something to do. You know, it's a nice little practice and see how you feel. So thanks, Catherine, for that. Okay, so there's a question for me.
Yeah, Lisa, there's a question for you, Lisa. If a client's really blocked and they don't know what they want done, can I set a neutral intention for that person to be open? And you don't have to have a list of questions to do a complete clearing, but what would you offer, Lisa, to this question?
Right. Yeah, I would just honestly, when they come into me, even if they don't know anything, like somebody says to me, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me, just do some clearing. I would just hold the intention to do what is best for their highest good. You see, so the thing is, I don't know what their highest good is, but actually, their high self knows what's their highest good. So I would want to just hold that. So whatever comes up to be cleared, we're working towards their highest good. So yes, you can just be neutral and just ask, set an intention like that. It's a very nice statement as well.
Yeah, well, your prep to work is, setting your intention to be a clear, neutral channel to ask Spirit, well, what does this client, what's the first thing to clear for them? What do we need to know? That kind of thing. So just as Lisa said, when someone asked about the book Spiritual Healing, you can order it through the SRA website. You can also order it through Amazon.com. You'll want the expanded edition. I believe is the latest one is the expanded edition.
There's somebody said here, divine will versus your will.
Yes, that's an excellent comment.
Yes, and Kathleen, you should take a note of that. That's an interesting topic.
Oh, yes, that would be another meeting. Yes, it would. Thank you. I will.
We have to remember everything is in divine order. So when we talk about divine will and your will, it's actually very similar. Sometimes a person would say, I'm doing something and it's not happening. Maybe they need to step back and think about, is this in divine order? Is this in divine timing? And they might be surprised to know actually it's not. So again, that's a huge topic, and I think that is something worthy of a discussion.
Yes, thank you. I wrote down that note. Leong Singh has this question about when he or she does clearing, do I also check chart 1 for percentage? Chart 1 doesn't have a percentage on it, but you could use any fan chart to get a percentage, positive, negative, or percent cleared. Lisa, what's your comment?
Just to clarify, we're looking at the numbers on the outer fan from 0 to 10, and we can use them from 0 to 100. That's what we're talking about, using those fan charts to get numbers.
Right. Okay. And then Michelle a client asked me, what is the difference between an intention and a prayer? How would you define that, Lisa?
You know, I keep on saying when we speak to spirit, we're praying, you know. So an intention is something that you hold, a prayer is something that you send out, you know, which is it's similar, but it's slightly different because you would hold an intention, you actually pray and send a prayer out. Kathleen, you want to add to that? Because I mean, you might have an interesting point on that of view.
I'm sorry, I was reading the messages to see what to bring up. Um, can you repeat the question to me?
Sure. Okay, I was saying that the difference between intention and a prayer, it's
Oh,
like
right.
an intention you're holding, but a prayer, you're like sending that out.
Yes, you know, I often think of prayers as your thoughts are your prayers. So the
Yeah.
question is, what are you thinking? What are you sending out? Your thoughts are your prayers to the universe, to spirit. So be aware of your thoughts and because that of course enhances your feelings because your thoughts plus your feelings, that's your emotions. So with prayer, it's that message you're sending out, that a request, if you will, but intention is more about, it is a request, but it's very specific. And intentions, Robert would always say, they are creative. Now
Mhm.
your prayers are creative too, but intentions are also creative. it
Yes.
Sometimes they sound the same, I know, but
It's different. It
yeah.
really is. Yeah, and an intention is almost something that you're holding and you're working on or working towards. A prayer is more, as we said, just like sending the message out.
Hmm.
But
Thank you, Lisa.
you know, I really appreciate these questions because you all have me thinking.
Okay, so there's been several comments about the book Spiritual Healing, so I just want to clear up a couple of things.
Sure.
um, the expanded edition, if you're going to Amazon, be sure it's expanded edition. Otherwise, you can order it from the SRA office. And the reason I say that is because there are different editions that are older, but this latest one is the expanded edition, and that's the one that has the freedom pattern. And also in the back, there are symbols like letting go of old beliefs or helping increase your faith. So be aware that there's symbols, there's patterns, and it has a great introduction explaining how to use the book. And then someone is asking, and they're not sure if this is pertinent to the comment, but I think it can be, is that when this person is teaching, she feels like her spiritual committee may block and that her high self may be running energies. And I want to take the minute to say, when you say spiritual committees, keep in mind that's your high self, but it's also your guardian angels. And in some people's intention, like what do you intend that to mean? It might also mean your spiritual healing committee. What would you say to this, Lisa? As I say, when she teaches, um, why would your spiritual committees perhaps block you, or why would your high self be running energies?
Sometimes it's not really something that they would do intentionally. It's because sometimes they are not aware. So this is why it's important to make sure that they really truly understand the issues or the challenges. Because sometimes, remember, they're in spirit, you're in the physical form. So they may not have the full understanding and may need re-educating, or sometimes, as Robert would say, we need to change them because we need to be supported 100% positively. So I would check to see what percent, again, does my high self or my spiritual committees truly understand my issues and my challenges. You can ask that. And if it's not 100%, you can ask, do I need to educate or do I need to replace? And of course, you'll go to spirit to do that.
Okay, I would say, if I may, because she just added a little bit more to it, to her question, is that I would check their intention. Are they doing a proper prep to work?
Right.
What are their belief systems? You know, as we talk about intentions, like one of the, Anna mentions that she sets an intention, but she doesn't always see that this makes her sessions any shorter. And It may not, but sometimes it does, because if the person has that intention, doesn't set an intention, you can perhaps get more tangents. Like, set the intention that your high self is concise, to the point, not taking you out on all of these tangents, but taking you right to the root cause. Robert would often say things like, make sure that they're taking you right to the root cause. So set that intention. And I think that may be what we're talking about here too. Anything to add to that, Lisa?
Yeah, that actually is actually a very good point. And like for instance, sometimes I would set and hold an intention depending on my client that, today would be a peaceful day, no drama. Because, sometimes people could become very, dramatic, and that may not be in the best interest of anything or anyone. So, we want to hold that as well for the clients. Um, in terms of time, that's a tricky one because, again, it depends on the topics you're clearing or working with. That's a tricky one.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Oh, just a moment, Christy. Thank you. I just want to say, a lot of you are, as we're talking about intention, we would love to answer everyone's questions. However, some of these questions don't really pertain. For instance, how do you handle clients that might block you? That could be a whole nother topic or a whole nother hour. So I just want to brush it up that I'm going to be looking at the notes. And then, Christy, what was your question to Lisa?
My question is, what do you think my intention should be to stay in alignment with my high self that is working like together appropriately? Because I do find that I can tell when my high self is just not cooperating. I could feel the difference between some things saying this, some things saying that. And so I don't know what the intention I should be setting for my daily, to make them harmonious and working together and updated and that sort of thing.
I would suggest you actually keep working with your prep to work, and then also making sure that your high self really understands the issues and the challenges.
Okay.
Making sure that they really aren't holding any energies on your programs either.
Okay. This is just for like even just daily
Yes.
movement. Okay.
Right. Because yeah, you're welcome. No, but it's a valid question.
Okay.
Yeah. As Lisa mentioned earlier, a lot of challenges are that the prep to work hasn't been done effectively, and it could be because you're not using an effective prep to work. So suggesting the SRA prep to work that is based on Roberts. And then some other questions here. People are saying, hey, what if I'm in if you have a quiet place, it's easier to do SRT, but if you're at a noisy cafe, even if you clear that space, it can be too distracting. Any suggestions? I would suggest don't do a clearing session at a cafe. But Lisa, what would you say?
I would say the absolute same thing, because it really is distracting. And remember, there are just so many energies in that space that just isn't yours, that could actually really distract. Mm-hmm.
Do you want to create a safe space for your client? And sometimes a public location is not the best. If you felt intuitively that you just wanted to do something, I think that would be different. But a complete session, that would be extremely,
Yeah, that would be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Dan had a question. It's not a question, it's more of a comment. Which
I liked your comment.
I
Dan,
do.
intentions is more than attitude. An intention means it's more than an attitude. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a comment about that, because sometimes the attitude when you're going to take one session is different when after the cleaning. So some clients that have some doubts about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important after could be the intention that you go to have a session is one point, and then when you doing the cleaning is another, because Espíritu said is the point is another thing. So could be we have a thought that which one is the cleaning that we're going to do it, but it's different. I think it's important and to clear that intention and which the attitude that you're going to have it, and the concept that you have. What is the meaning for that intention? Because some people they don't have that clear concept about the intention.
There's thank you. There's a couple of things. One, a person said to put your high self and your ego in neutral. In the prep to work, your neutrality should be at 100% neutral. Same for your client. Your ego should be below a certain percentage. So just if your prep to work doesn't have that, then you'll want to get a new one. And Erica, thank you for mentioning Dr. Wayne Dyer's The Power of Intention. It's a wonderful book. He also, I think, has a video, a DVD perhaps presentation available on that, but excellent book. And I think we're coming to an end here. So I'm just double checking.
Kathleen,
Yeah, go ahead, Lisa. You fill up the time.
There was a question that we had earlier on where someone asked about the charts and.
Oh yes, I answered some of those, but what do you?
No, I really think that's a good question, because I mean they can probably just, if they wanted to purchase a new set, they can check the office.
Correct. You can contact the SRA. If you would have to tell them who you took the classes from. You're probably in their database, but it's always good to say, I took the classes from this person at this time. And you can order them online, I believe, but you may need to do email with them to contact, depending. And then you can also retake a class from a teacher. When you retake a class, such as basic or advanced or intensive skills, you get a new set of charts. If there's an advanced review class, usually that comes with a set of charts. Anything, Lisa?
Yeah, okay, so no, I'm just looking at a few extra questions. Which
yes, they just came in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I only do SRT in a quiet space, one-on-one. That's great. I mean, yeah, definitely. You can give your undivided attention. Sure. That's really great. Thanks, Amanda, for sharing that with us.
The question Rashma has about the benefits of being a consultant versus a practitioner, sometimes that's a personal decision based on things, but what would you suggest about what are the benefits of being a consultant?
One of the benefits is having the recognition, being on the website with the SRA. That would definitely be a definite benefit. I would also say that the extra training that you may have to do would actually benefit. That would mean taking intensive skills class. And well, before self-mastery no longer offered. Kathleen, I don't know how you want to answer that part of the question.
About self-mastery, it's no longer being offered through the SRA. I was told at one point the copyright holders are putting it in an online format, and you'll need to contact the SRA to find out if and when that might be offered again through the SRA.
Right.
And then people want to know about the book Spiritual Healing. It is the expanded edition. Okay, these sometimes move so fast, I have to go back up.
Okay, so I'm just wanting to answer somebody's question here about their charts.
Yeah, I saw that too. Go ahead, Lisa.
Right. What I'm more concerned about is if you took SRT, if you had charts from 2011, 2012, and so on, then you would not have had the most updated prep to work.
Correct. That's the point. It's not just the charts, it's the prep to work and other handouts.
Yeah, that is very interesting, Kathleen, that that we should actually ensure that people actually do get that updated prep to work. And again, would they be able to get this from the office?
The prep to work, in the past, the office has not sent it out. They've asked people to contact their teachers to
Sure.
ask for an updated
Yeah.
version. And so that keeps the teachers hopefully current. That makes them, make sure that they have the most current one. And so that's what I'm going to suggest at this time. If your teacher is no longer teaching, or in my case, Robert has passed away, and many of you have had Robert as a teacher, then you can reach out to another teacher or to the SRA and ask them if they can send it to you, or how they suggest intensive skills or retaking a class. Again, this is how you can get the new handouts or newer handouts.
Right.
The last prep to work was updated in 2017.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And do you have to retake SRT? If you're not retaking SRT, you're missing out. Advanced classes are an excellent way to fine-tune your skills, because you don't learn everything the first time. Did you learn everything the first time you took advanced, Lisa?
Nope, nope. And I took so many reviews with Robert. It was, I think, about maybe 3 or 4 reviews. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, because I was learning something new all the time.
Right. Now, most teachers, I don't know if they all do, but quite a few teachers offer a discounted fee for retakes. Thank you, Catherine, for appreciating us doing this.
Yes.
And then I think we talked about prep to work, and are there teachers in the Tampa Bay offering intensive skills? Tampa Bay, Florida, we do have intensive skills is now being offered online. So if you're not getting emails from the SRA about in physical intensive skills as well as online intensive skills, then please reach out to them and give them your current email. But you're probably on there because you got the thing tonight. So intensive skills is offered online in some areas. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Lisa?
No, I think that's it, because, and of course, when things do open back up, when the world opens back up, we'd be able to have in-person classes again. So maybe,
Yes.
Amanda, you would be one of our wonderful organizers for an intensive skills class.
And Dana, I want to thank you. She probably already left, for
Yeah.
coming. It is 3 a.m. her time. She's calling from Spain. So that is dedication. Okay. As we come to a close, any suggestions for making a clearing more efficient? That is a class in itself, Michelle. Probably 2 days worth. No. So what would you suggest, just in like 1 minute or less? Anything to bring up for suggestions for making a clearing more efficient, other than the prep to work?
I would definitely say take an intensive skills class. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead, Lisa. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just, making sure that you are guided by spirit, guided by, when you go to chart 1, wherever it leads you, because it actually helps you to become more efficient. Like, you're not depending on what you're thinking. You're just flowing with the energy. You're flowing with the answers.
Yes, and this is, Lori Drenka also mentioned this, setting your intention and asking spirit to assist you. And don't ignore if you feel like something's off. Ask spirit, why does it feel like something's off? Pay attention to that. That's also setting your intention to be aware of things. So thank you all for coming today. I did want to say that we talk about the prep to work, but it's following the SRT procedure. Prep to work, is there a program to clear, anything else to clear, mop up. That's how you make an efficient session, is you follow the SRT procedure through those 3 steps. And if it's still difficult, then it could be that you haven't practiced enough to understand where the questions are taking you, perhaps. But I want to thank everyone for being here, and know that the board is offering some wanting people to know with CEC classes, if there's any teachers that are interested in offering one, or if you have ideas on what you would like to see in a CEC class. Intensive skills is a type of CEC class, as there have been others that are not 3 days long. Let the board know, let the SRA know, share them with me if you want. I'll see that someone gets them. Ideas on CEC classes. We invite teachers to develop something that way too. I noticed there's some teachers with us tonight. Okay, Lisa, did you want to do a little bit of a closing prayer for us?
Yes, okay. So everyone, let's just get comfortable and just close your eyes and just begin to follow your breath. Just becoming more and more relaxed with each breath. Now you are open to all the possibilities moving forward. Tune into what it feels like for you in this time. This could be something that just comes to you or something you were thinking about. Hold this feeling and set an intention. Set an intention to move forward with action. Now send this message out into the universe and allow yourself to work with the universe and spirit. You are co-creating with spirit. Now that you have released your intention, you know that the universe is busy working with you. Notice how you feel when you are supported. Feel that support and feel that love, and hold that feeling of love and support. Begin to come back to this space and time and open your eyes when you are ready. I would just like to say thank you very much, that I'm very honored that you had me here tonight. And thanks to all of you all who stayed up past 3 a.m. and keep practicing.
Thank you, Lisa. And yes, everyone, thank you for coming. And Lisa, thank you for your wonderful wisdom and sharing. There was one, how do you get in touch with Lisa? Thank you, because I was going to say that and then I forgot. Lisa can be found on the SRA website under teachers, in international teachers in Trinidad. And Lisa, do you want to type your email address?
Yeah, that's what I'll do now.
There's her email.
Thank you. Night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
And I also, what was it? Yes, go back to sleep. I'm going to stop the recording. It's just that there was something about, I was going to tell him to check it with the SRA, but now I'm not finding it. So that's okay. It'll come up again, and Spirit will find a way to answer your questions. All right, so let's